That's me right there. So whenever you see in one of the slides that sticky figure with the blue glasses, that's going to be me. My name is Santiago, and I'm here to tell you a very, very simple story. I like to call that story another overnight success, 5 years in the make. The right software. That's me with a red hair weird guy. And we're going to be talking about this little robot here. That's your protagonist. How many of you have seen Spot before? That's a fair amount. How many of you have not seen Spot? Never. It's yellow. That one is black. We have a white one. We have multiple colors. So Spot is an amazing platform. And for those of you who've never seen Spot, let me tell you a little bit about this platform here. So first, we have a high-resolution camera. Let me see if I have a pointer. It's small. Hopefully you see it. That's a very high-resolution camera. But more than a camera, it's a point and zoom camera, which makes it actually better. 360 degrees. That means that, Spot is walking and we can make it point at any direction we want. Zoom in, take a very, very nice picture. But that's just the beginning. Also has a thermal camera, so we can take pictures, thermal pictures. We can see temperature. But there are two things that nobody cares, but we do. It has a microphone and it has speakers. And we're going to see how those two play in this story. A GPU right there, strapped to Spot. Awesome. If you want to process the pictures you got with your camera, you have your GPU right there. High processing power on top of Spot. And finally, 4 legs. And I know that sounds stupid, but you've seen plenty of robots with wheels. Suck. Those don't go anywhere. 4 legs will get you anywhere you want. It's really, really amazing. So, in short, platform, hardware, awesome. Very athletic. I've seen Spot walk on snow, gravel, potholes, doesn't matter, slippery floors. We were at this factory. They do beer in the factory, and every single day, they have to watch some of their equipment with a big hose and water and a solution that's very slippery. Spot, first day, the floor, could not walk that. We had to adjust the grip. We had to adjust the software so it walks a little bit slower. We made it so it can walk anywhere it wants. Goes up and down stairs, which is also great. Anytime you have 2 floors, you can actually go upstairs and do interesting stuff there. And it's very stable. I don't know if you've seen videos of researchers kicking Spot, and it does like this. It stays very, very stable. So, bottom line, hardware is top-notch. But what really, really excites me about Spot is not what you were laughing about my drawings. They're awesome drawings. So what really excites me about Spot is not what comes in the box. What really excites me is what we can do with it. It's what software developers like me, like you, can actually do with a platform like this. It reminds me a little bit to the iPhone, which is really good hardware. But what keeps people coming back is the ecosystem of applications that we collectively have built. That's what's really awesome. So obviously, back in 2019, when we got access to Spot for the first time, I think we were the first company in the US in the world to get access to Spot. We started working right away. I have a bunch of videos that I'm not going to show you. My facial hair was not like it is right now. It was ugly. But awesome videos about us playing with Spot and doing really cool stuff with this new platform. Now, obviously, back then, in 2019, the hardware was not what it is today. Let me see if I can show you. This black platform here, basically all of this, that was 3D printed. We had somebody in our team, a developer, that brought a 3D printer to the office so we could print that vase to start attaching stuff to Spot. Every single component that you see there, that was bought off of Amazon. I think we spent maybe $30 on components. And we literally strapped a webcam to Spot to take pictures. We didn't have the hardware that we have today. It was a lot of fun back then. And something I did not know back then, again, 2019, was what a factory floor looked like. Never before been to one. I hope some of you have. It's just impressive stuff. Never been to a manufacturing facility, or even better, a nuclear facility, a nuclear plant. Those places are humongous. Like when you get inside, it's just El Corte Inglés multiplied by 100. And obviously, something I did not know, and this sounds sort of like dumb right now, I did not know that there are thousands of analog gauges inside these facilities. I mean, it was 2019, of course, computers from the world, right? Now, analog gauges. You measure pressure with one of those things. And what's funny about those things is that somebody has to go in front of every single one of those gauges and write down on a piece of paper the reading that you want to get. I know it sounds stupid, it's not. That's the way it is today. Somebody going in front of 1,000 gauges, it's not going to happen, right? That's not the way companies spend their money. And as you might imagine, you really want to do those readings. So, 2019, we had every ingredient we needed. So what if we use this 4-legged robot with a webcam at the time? Now we have a very nice camera. And we built a computer vision model that's capable of solving this problem for companies. That's exactly what we did. So just very 10,000 view of what we built. We have Spot going on missions. A mission has multiple locations. And basically what Spot does is goes in front of the gauge, takes a picture. We analyze that picture with a computer vision model that, selects where the gauge is inside that picture. Then another model reads the gauge, comes up with, okay, I think this is 120 PSI. Then we analyze if that reading is what we expect. Basically, if the reading is too high, well, there might be a problem. We send an alarm, and if the reading is okay, we just keep moving on to the next location. And as you might imagine, we run this every day automatically over and over again. So we went from having to send somebody to many, many different locations to now we have a robot that works on electricity, which is very cheap, doing this multiple times every day. And after having this platform, we're not going to stop there. We're going to do more than that. By the way, these are 2 pictures of what the gauges that come out when we take a picture. And this is just for debugging purposes. You can see the purple line, like the arrow there. It's pointing to where we think the needle of the gauge is. And you get the readings on top, just debugging images that I wanted to show. So after having this platform, after being able to run this over and over again, we're going to start tackling even more complex problems. So temperature, we have a thermal camera. So what about, now that we're already running missions, we also take thermal pictures of the equipment in that location, and we detect if something is wrong. Maybe there is a piece of equipment that's running too hot, and we can raise an alarm because this is about to break. Or maybe some equipment that should be running is not, and it's too cold. So we can detect those anomalies and raise them. We work with third-party companies. This was our attempt to do something I don't know, the klaxon, the honk, maybe. We work with third-party companies. They provide hardware that detects, can hear, can, find sounds that are not supposed to be there. We built a model that detects compressed air leaks. So when you're in a factory setting and there is a leak, we can actually detect that. That's something that we people, we cannot do. Humans cannot hear that, but hardware can. And now Spot is carrying that thing in the back, poor guy. And this here is a fire extinguisher. Let me try to explain this. This is one of my favorite models. We call it the change detection model. The idea with change detection is, wait for it, detecting change. So if you go into a room and you take a picture, the idea is for a Spot to say, oh, there's something different here that I haven't seen before. And the reason I put a fire extinguisher is because that's one of the use cases. We go into a room and Spot takes a picture and realizes that a fire extinguisher that's supposed to be there isn't there anymore. And it raises an alarm because, the intern is going to forget to put the fire extinguisher back all the time. What's really cool about that use case is that you can use it for all sort of problems. You can detect when people leave doors open. You can detect when somebody leaves boxes in the wrong place. So basically, pretty cool use case that we built there. But yeah, that was just the beginning. And that was the boring part. All of that is out of the way. Let's talk about what's really, really interesting. When you have a robot. And I had told you before, we have a microphone that nobody cares about. So what about, we did just for fun. What about if we teach Spot to listen? Very simple. You've probably seen Whisper. Whisper is OpenAI's open source version of a transcription library. So basically you get audio on one side and you turn that into text. Very simple. If I say, hey Siri, a bunch of your phones are going to go off. Probably mine did go off. I'm sorry. It did not. Same thing we did with Spot. So, hey Spot, and we detect that. And from now on, we're going to get the next 20 seconds of audio, transcribe that audio, and now we know what the person is trying to tell Spot. Pretty cool. And when you do this, of course, the next step is to teach Spot to talk back. Very simple. Google Text-to-Speech API. You get text, send it to the API, and you get a stream of audio that now you can play through the speakers that nobody cares about. So now we have audio coming in and audio going out. What can we do with this? Well, of course, we're going to have fun with it. So, all right. We're going to teach Spot some basic commands. Stuff like walk back, or turn left, or stand up. Very, very basic commands. And those are clips from a video that we posted online. Got like 250,000 views. Everyone is freaking out, of course. They didn't know what was coming, but very simple, very cool. Now we can control Spot with our voice. But there is a small problem with that. And the problem is that the commands had to be structured. And if any of you are developers, you know that, well, how do you guys do that? Well, simple. You have to remember the command. You have to tell Spot, move back. If you say move backwards, it's not going to work. Because in the code, we were looking for move back or turn left. If you say, hey, walk here, it doesn't know what to do because it's not pre-programmed. And that makes for a really bad user experience. So we thought, how do we make this better? And of course, we brought the big guns. We said, hey, ChatGPT is right there. We are AI experts, aren't we? So we used ChatGPT. And I have a video here. By the way, I promise I wanted to bring Spot and show you. People at the airport are not happy that big thing. They just don't like it. So let me show you the video, which is the next best thing. Let's see if we have audio.
That's a great question.
We use ChatGPT to query information, and the user can ask natural questions.
I was just wondering if I could dictate to it to say something specifically. What is your battery level?
Battery level currently at 53%.
What is the voice coming from? It's a Google text-to-speech.
We give the JSON to ChatGPT and explain what the structure is and how to read that JSON. Now ChatGPT can answer questions about that JSON. Spot how many inspections in the next mission?
Or what mission involves 20 inspections?
Okay. All right.
You're going to say, describe your next mission, right? In the context, it's going to have to be like, next mission location.
Correct.
For something.
Or last mission. That should be pretty simple to do.
Mission was Group 56. Was past the 30 minutes, then there were 2 thermal anomalies detectable.
There's 2 messages. One is the system message, and one is called trust her. I did next mission as a dictionary. That'll probably be better.
Those are Spot stickers. Funny thing is, you ask Spot what's his name, and the answer is, I'm OpenAI. That is just messed up.
Spot, are you standing up? Yes or no?
I love the expressions.
That's what I was looking for, the yes or no thing. The emotions are great. The wiggly.
Yeah.
So these robot commands are based on its internal localization. So it's always going to be a very precise 90 degree for 1 meter depth, right? Yeah.
Please provide a question or a context for me to answer.
You're crowding my space. Spot, what word? No, that's how it works. How many thermal missions in your next greeting?
That'll be in your bloopers.
I don't know if you cut that, but it's extremely hard. Try to put a microphone. This is a microphone right here that we put on Spot so the audio can actually come through the camera. It's extremely hard trying to put the microphone on a robot that's moving around. And yes, the other thing that I wanted to mention is super funny that I didn't put that in the video. Super funny every time you ask a question and the robot answered back with, as a large AI language model, like, no, you're not. You're a robot. It's just frustrating. Anyway, we posted this video online about 3 weeks ago, I think. And it just went nuts. I don't know if any of you are on Twitter here. Nuts went on Twitter. We got interviews with CNN, with New York Post, Telemundo 51, that's in Miami, Spanish-speaking news. The Washington Post reached out. I'm talking about nuts. Like my name, if you Google my name, never been on Google. Like Google doesn't know me. If you Google it now, like everyone talking about ChatGPT. And of course, 90% of the comments were the Hollywood version of where this is going. You know, of course, we're all going to die now because robots are speaking and doing, it's just crazy. So many people talking about the end of the world. About 5% of them asked a really, interesting question. Why did you do this? Why in the world are you doing this? Right, so here's my answer to that question. It's not complicated. If we really want robots to be helpful for us, they need to be smarter, right? They need to be more than a pile of hardware, right? And doing what we just did is a step towards that direction. So let me show you a couple of ways that we're using ChatGPT. It's more than looking cool on a video, right? There are 2 things that we can actually accomplish. I don't want you to read all of that. That's just a wall of text. But this is an example prompt for those of you who've used ChatGPT before, which I'm pretty sure is almost everyone here. A lot of people here. Right, almost all of you probably use ChatGPT. This prompt here help us translate those the voice from people into structured commands that we can actually execute, right? So remember, I told you that having to remember move left is just not gonna happen because I ask every one of you to say that you're gonna say something different. But doing something like this, by the way, this is not the real prompt, but it's the version that fits here. Doing something like this is a technique that we call grounding the model. You could use ChatGPT now to translate the actual command into something that we can control. So imagine now we're talking to ChatGPT, we get that audio, turn it into text, run it through ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, can you give me the structure command? And thanks to that, I can now say, can you get away from me? And that will get translated into move back. So it feels magic now because you don't have a script. You don't have to come and say, well, how can I say this? You don't have to do that anymore. You can speak to the thing and the thing magically will understand you. It's super, super powerful when you get to interact with it. But that was just the fun part. That's sort of like the video part. But the second part, and this is the one that's really important, and of course, because it's important, it's boring. So bear with me here for a second. For all of those missions that I show you that we're doing for real to make money, we have huge configuration files. We're running missions that have 100 locations. So Spot has to walk through 100 different locations and do different stuff. To configure that, you have to say, okay, I want you to go to location number 1, which is here, and this is what you're going to run. I want you to read this gauge, and I want you to do this with that gauge, and I want you to send an email to this, blah, blah, blah. It's very, very long. Those configurations files are huge. And people want to know all the time what's going to happen. And in order for us to tell people what's going to happen, a technical person, somebody that knows how to read those files, have to sit down and answer the client's questions. Very, very cumbersome. And in second place, after Spot runs that mission, we store a lot of information. We capture a ton of pictures. We do all of the readings. We saved all of those in a database. And somebody has to expose that information to the world. And by the way, we did not invent the, how do you say that? The warm water? That's a saying in Spanish. The way you do that is you sit a bunch of people in a room, or now at home, whatever you prefer, and you make them build a user interface. We've been doing this for years. You build a web page, you put a server on Spot, and if you really want to expose the information to the world, you just connect from a computer to Spot, and you see your web interface with all of the information. We've done this many, many times, obviously. The problem with that is that you have to pre-program all of the information that you want clients to see, right? And 80% of the time, that's going to be great. 20% of the time, clients wants to see information that you did not consider or you did not think they wanted to see. So they're going to have to get back to you. So how about save all of that? And we just use ChatGPT to expose that information. Why not, right? What's there to lose? Well, that's exactly what we do. We take the information, and that's what you saw in the video. Take the, let's say, the configuration file. We give it to Spot, and we say, hey, when they ask you a question, use this file to answer those questions. Don't make stuff up. Just use the file, right? And it turns out that ChatGPT is really good at reading JSON files. Really, really good. You just need to give it some indications of where the information is. If they ask about missions, look at this element. If they ask about inspection points, you're going to find that information here. And by doing that, now we can let users ask Spot, hey, dude, listen, I want to know how many inspection points in your next mission. And ChatGPT will look at the JSON file and will say, 23 inspection, whatever the voice. I'm not going to try to reproduce it. This, I think, is going to be a game changer for clients and for us as the team who has to manage Spot, because there's so many requests we're not going to have to deal with. But this is just the beginning. You know we're not going to stop there, right? We really want to make Spot smarter. So we're trying many, many different things. but I'm just going to leave you here with sort of like the next frontier for us. Like right now, we're asking Spot what we want Spot to do. Go and do that. Go and read that gauge, or go and move left. That's awesome. That gets me in a conference. But there is a better thing that we could be doing. How about if we start asking Spot, this is what I want to accomplish. And I don't care how you go and do it. This is the outcome I need. Go and figure it out. That's sort of like the next frontier. So instead of me telling Spot, move left, move right, walk 10 feet, take a picture, come back, tell me the reading, I'm going to say, I want to know what is the pressure of that tank. And Spot will have to figure out how to get to the tank and what it needs to do to accomplish that. We are far away from that. Still, we're making good progress. All right, so want to leave you with two thoughts, and then I'm going to shut up for you guys to ask questions. The first one is, I want you to ignore the hype. It's a lot of hype. If you go to Twitter right now, I'm always on Twitter. He's all Hollywood there. Just we're dying, and the 10 things that are going to change your life. No, they won't. So put, please, all of that aside. We're not going to die in the next 5 years. We're not going to all lose our jobs in the next 3 years. You know, if you talk to anybody working on the field, anybody except a couple of loud voices, anybody working on the field, they're going to tell you that, no, it's not going to happen. We don't know how to get there. We're not even close to that point, and it's just not going to happen for now. And number two, even though I just tell you to ignore all of that, I also want you to embrace the stuff that we're doing. If some of you, I'm guessing, are not into artificial intelligence, that's fine. But if you really want to get into artificial intelligence, today is that day. Because right now, the field is level for everyone. There is absolutely nobody with 5 years of experience in this type of stuff. Yes, building these models, yes, I'm talking about building solutions using artificial intelligence, everyone starting from scratch. So if you really want to define the next 10 years of what this stuff looks like, now is the time to get into it. Please do not ignore it. All right, so thank you very much. I'm going to leave you with this. If you want to find me, that's where my Twitter is. And thank you. You've been great.